Alright, before I start this review, I have two things to say. Number one, Rick Remender, if by any chance that you ever come across this video and you kind of wondering what folks on YouTube think about your series, I have to say that I love it so far, and it's probably pretty much my favorite X book along with Peter David's X Factor. You're doing a great job with it, man. Keep it up. The second thing, I'm going to kind of steal a little bit of the review for this issue from Comic Book Resources because I agree with it so much. Comic Book Resources made a couple of points on this issue. The fact is, number one, this is an alternate universe trip back to the Age of Apocalypse. We're not really told how they're getting back there, and the fact is that it doesn't matter. The second thing is that Remender is clearly a fan of that story, and it shows throughout this issue. Now, getting into my own opinion. He has done a terrific job with this. Now, I hate to sound like an over-anxious fanboy, but the fact is that this really is a well-written issue, and furthermore, a well-written Black Ops comic book issue. Basically the entire series is, pretty much for that matter. This almost makes me want to go and check out the first 3 issues of Venom now, which he's also writing. Basically what we got here is part 1 of the Dark Angel Saga. What's going on here is that all of X-Force minus Angel is going back into the Age of Apocalypse with Dark Beast, who unfortunately they have to pretty much perform a devil's bargain and place their trust in Dark Beast, who has the only thing which will cure the Apocalypse seed, which is left inside Angel and is causing the Archangel persona to go entirely out of control. Right away when we get back in to the Age of Apocalypse, we already see the fallout of what happened after the bombs dropped in that issue, so to speak. The place is completely decimated, and Dark Beast actually shares a little bit of the history of what happened in between Apocalypse's servants after everything pretty much went to hell in a handbasket in this universe. But, you know, what would seem like a simple trip back there, could it have its complications? Yes, it has to have complications. What kind of fun would it be if it was just a simple trip back and then, you know, coming back? It would be an awfully boring issue. Deadpool is pretty much funny in this issue. I have to say right off, again, so far as right now, you know, after all the prostituting of the Deadpool character throughout, you know, 7-8 books simultaneously, Remender writes my favorite version of Deadpool so far. He's mostly in his funny guy stage right now, but you know, that's alright. After having the little bit of the moment that we did back after the first story arc with him, I've actually come to appreciate this character much more, and I think Remender's really got a good handle on him. You know, maybe they could maybe they should consider Remender writing a new Deadpool series with this type of character. All the internal monologue in this book is somewhat there, and it's all done by Wolverine, basically. Right away, we get back to Dark Beast Laboratory, which, in kind of a darkly humorous way, he's got this computer which is hooked up to a brain and a pair of eyeballs in a floating jar, and sort of his key code to get into his laboratory. And we find the Celestial Life Seed, which is the thing which will cure Angel. Unfortunately, we have some other mutants show up and think that these guys basically are pretty much up to no good. We have an alternate version of Sabretooth in here, and we have an alternate version of Nightcrawler in here. Wolverine is pretty much conflicted that he wants to cut down this guy which looks so much like his worst enemy, but at the same time he can't raise a claw against one who looks so much like his best friend. And this is pretty good stuff. We have a typical big fight which takes place in between our heroes and these villains, which turns out are also heroes, and we have the typical, misunderstood fight, but it's still pretty good. I love the Nightcrawler character in this issue. He's really cool. And I also like Wolverine's sort of conflict that after, the group agrees to stop fighting, Wolverine still pretty much has a hate on for the Victor Creed lookalike. And right away we get off. Basically, Dark Beast has his own motives in this story, and he intends to carry them out. And we get kind of a build-up towards the end of this, which is a predictable appearance of a certain character towards the end of this book, but at the same time it's nice to see an Elseworld version instead of this character being brought back to life. It's going to sound predictable by who I'm hinting at, but it's still a nice reveal nevertheless. A lot of the tone in the story is pretty good. I especially love the dark humor as well as the landscaping. Mark Brooks is on pencils this time, and we have Dean White doing the coloring. There's beautiful scenes of cinematic artwork all throughout this issue, and an especially good sort of two-page spread which takes place. There's 4 panels at the bottom, but there's a huge 2-page spread of what the Age of Apocalypse sort of looks like after some bombs have fallen, and it's really an awesome looking picture. All in all, this is a really good issue. I've kind of babbled on about it for a little bit, but I'm still convinced. Besides X Factor, this is my favorite X book coming out right now. Again, I say this often. I recommend this stuff, but then again, with good writing like this, if you like Venom and you haven't read this book, really go and pick this up. It's typical $4 for a book from Marvel, but I think it's $4 well worth it.